It's rolling. Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem HaRakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, rule well. And shalom to all the brothers, brothers are hopeful elect out there doing the work, Syrian truth. Pushing this word to the four corners, man. We're back, doing again, continuing on, in the series. And the Spirit's basically on us to go through Revelation. And, doing Revelation 9, which is a deep breakdown. From the end of chapter 8 of Revelation, it says, about the three woes. Woe, woe, woe. I'll read that. Revelation 8 and 13. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth. Yeah, woe, woe, woe. Those three world wars, which were in the midst of the third. And that's played out. That mass destruction has gone down. When you go into these, and this, the first world has been broken down in the in Revelation 9, and then towards the end it goes into the third one, ending with the capstone of the end of the third world is what? The destruction of America. To the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels that are yet to sound. Yeah, that are yet to sound. It says what? And the fifth angel sounded, Revelation 9 and 1, sorry. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven onto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. Yeah, and the what do you call it? The bottomless pit. That's talking about Europe, man, because Europe is that resource, well, not even resource starved, but it's lacking in the abundance of resources and fertility. And it said, and he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power. Yeah, so that smoke, that that mess going down, that's World War One kicking off. And one of the key components of the First World War is aircraft, and that's what the locusts are going into those
dogfires.
Yeah. I was gonna say Spitfires, but I think that's World War Two. Yeah. Let's see.
Well, I feel like even the dogfire World War Two as well.
Oh, fighter planes. That's what they're called. Fighter planes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It was fighter planes. Because, as as it is with the breakdowns, these breakdowns are basically not, they're not written in a manner where it's you're just going to go into it and read it. and then Franz Ferdinand was assassinated, and World War One began. It's not going to be a BBC documentary.
Then it wouldn't be the secrets of the Most High.
No, these things are it's a what's the word? I was going to say apocrypha, which wouldn't technically be wrong, but it's the actual word. It's like a riddle. It's like a
dark saying.
Dark saying. There's one more word, but it's fine. But with
parable.
Yeah, parable. That's the one. It's a parable. It's something that you need to have broken down. The Spirit needs to be working with you to understand and get these things. Because that's the thing. It's not locusts. Because what does it say? Unto them was given the power as the scorpions of the earth have power. And that's what I was gonna say as well. Still on the locusts. I actually forgot what I was gonna say because I was thinking of the next point. But the scorpions is like the tail guns.
The pilot at the front steering the plane, and he had an individual at the back, a soldier basically shooting weaponry from the back.
And then, yeah, that's how it went down. It's like with this war. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say it's like with these things, it's the same thing like with Daniel, where he was given the prophecies of like the beast and the statue, and he had it broken down to him afterwards, but then he couldn't get it because at the time it was these things. It's like the understanding hadn't come until later, and that's a thing. Same thing with like these. Pretty much the vast majority of these prophecies in Revelation. These things are things that aren't going to be understood until later, until it's unsealed, until that what happened in Revelation chapter 5 takes place. Because you have Daniel 12 where it says shut, seal the book until the time of the end, and then people will run to and fro and knowledge will be increased. Now's that time when knowledge has been increased and the Lord's appointed these men and basically giving them different breakdowns, different revelations of what's gone down, like how to break down the scriptures. And then that's why now it's and now's the time where we have, we can go in and line up the actual, the images and go through and see and line up the historical figures. Because that's the same thing that even Esau's done it with Daniel, where he's lined up, okay, this lines up with this kingdom and that. That's why you Google it, you Google the statue, you'll get all the different kingdoms, the years of ruling, etc. But then when it comes to the feet and toes, who knows? Because that's something that that basically is now in the hands of the Lord's men to break these things down. These things were a mystery. But it said, what as the scorpions of earth have power. So like the brother said, it's the tail gunners. And it says, and it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree. And the thing is we've had locusts. We had locust swarms going nuts in Africa. That's why you had famines happening, hella crops getting annihilated because you have biblical levels of locusts over there. I believe it was either last year. I think it was last year. It might have been the year before, but I'm pretty sure, or maybe both years. Who knows? Because I think it happened multiple times. But when you deal with locusts, they eat crops. They eat they eat the green things, and that's the thing. So that's how you know these locusts aren't actually locusts, because these are what they're commanded not to hurt the grass or green things. They're but only those men that have not the seal of the Most High in their foreheads, and that's why. Because you had Jake off in those wars. That's something they brought out in that film. I believe it's 1917. They brought out in the UK. They had the the East Indians over there in World War One. But as well, you had hella Jake in there, because like you go to, I think in the what's it called, the War Museum. Is it Imperial War Museum? Maybe I think it's Imperial War Museum, the one that we went to, where they had like a little section showing like the Jakes from the islands, Jakes from Africa that they sent over to World War II, but then World War One as well. These things went down, and that's why these guys were super fucking super duper coons for England, man, for Britain, Great Britain, when the Empire Windrush came, because these guys were like, yeah, we're British citizens, we're part of the Empire. They thought, they thought because they fought and died, that earned them something. But nah. It says what? But that they should, and it was commanded unto them, they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, nor neither any tree, but only those men who have not the seal of the Most High in their foreheads. Yeah. So you would have had men on the battlefields where their progeny would have gone on to become those men of the elect. So it's like for them, they couldn't be touched. They had to come back and do what they needed to do to continue the line. So that's, hey, it's everything moves according to the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. And it says what unto them, and you have a lot of those stories where people will be like, yo, it's like I heard the bullet whiz past my ear, or like, oh, there was a bomb and then something, or a grenade fell here, and if I didn't like those seemingly miraculous events where it was like, yo, my life flashed before my eyes, I was this close to death, man. There was a fucking train that derailed this morning in Enfield Town, man. The shit mounted the fucking went way beyond the little place it was meant to stop at and fucking mounted the what's it called, man, the platform.
Wow.
And I don't think anyone died. There was a footage of it. Actually, I have it on. Because it's a good example. What's Twitter? I forgot to like it. But yeah, with it's like with that, it's it's funny. There was someone I knew, like there was someone that was on the platform whilst that happened. So it's like that's just be like, yo, shit, lucky to be alive. But then those things are set because everyone's these things, everything's in the hands of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, and that's all you have. Where it would just be like, yo, could be like, yo, my head could have got fucking chopped off. All kinds of, there's all kinds of situations like this. You can just like they call it a brush with death. But that's how the Lord gets down. Are you got anything?
No.
But it says what? Verse 5, and to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as a torment of a scorpion when he strikes for man. Yeah. And that was another part of World War One. Is people getting all kinds of jacked up and not dying. Because there is basically like people getting disfigured, people getting put into a state where they were basically getting like the levels of, let me see the level of injuries. What's it called? Is it what do you call it? Casualties? No, is it not casualties? Casualties is definite. Let's see, injuries.
And the 5 months is talking about the 5 years. Oh.
Yeah, I was going to go into that. World War One injuries. Oh, wounded numbers, that's what they say. Wounded records. Oh, wait, actual fucking records. No, I just want to know how many. Okay, casualty is actually the number. So it's 40 million, so it's 20 million dead and 21 million wounded. And said there were just as many fucking people. Well, there's more people that got injured than actually died. And bruv, it's like you search the page as well. I'll go back to the previous one. What was it? The fucking wounded. Jesus Christ, bruh.
I saw that first.
Like,
the first image I
this
saw.
is how jacked up these people are getting. It's like, bro, man looks like a zombie from Hollywood Zombie. Like these man.
What did man used to say back in the day about Jaw side? I can't remember. Man.
These men were getting messed up, man. Fucking hell.
Let me see.
He started getting jacked up. Like I'm like, bro, that's the thing. It's like, and this is like, there's just hundreds of thousands of these fucking images of guys just being messed up, man. And it's like I don't even believe World War II was to the same scale, because it's like afterwards is when they developed a lot of the treatments for it. Like, yeah, people are still getting fucking obliterated in that one too. But what does it say? Torment is when Their torment was as a torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. And in those days shall men seek death and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. Yeah? They're only going to be seeking to die. It's like, yeah. They
were seeking to die. Not gonna.
Yeah. They were still like wrong tense. But yeah, they were seeking to die. Because why? It's all kinds of hell around them, man. Them guys were getting fucking obliterated. And that's what you have as well. You have those guys that their mental faculties are done. Man getting shell shocked. Them videos are legendary. Man getting all kinds of heebie-jeebies. Doing legendary dance moves. Anytime someone claps their hands, they're done, they're broken down. And that still happens, but that was happening on an insane scale. So even the vast majority of people that were going out to war, they'll be young as fuck too. I think you can go to war at 16 or 15? I think you can go to train at 15. And then be in war at 16. And this is what? And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle. And on their heads were crowns like gold, and their
Horses
faces
prepared
were
unto
as,
battle.
were as the face of the men.
When you have a horse prepared unto battle, a horse wears armory, alright? The individual, the horseman that's going to ride upon the horse, what does he wear? He wears armory. Now, if he just wears armory and the horse doesn't wear armory, the horse is going to be totally exposed. And any wise warrior would just go for the horse, because that would be the weak, just take his foundation out. So for the ancient world, the time that's contemporary to John the Revelator, in these times that when he was writing these things, you would have had a horse decked out with all the necessary armory, right? That's the same thing with those planes, man.
Cool. The shit and the horse crowns about. And on their heads, as it were, crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men. Yeah, the different form of helmets they were wearing as well. Because there's what, the hair of, what is it, after? No, just read it.
No.
Oh, it was before. Oh, no, it slid down a bit. Oh, okay, yeah, and they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions. So, what was it?
The hair is lion is the hair that's coming out of the Kaiser Wilhelm II. His headdress was basically had the hair, had the hair coming out of it, basically, from the helmet. As well as the scarves as well, about their necks. What you getting, sir?
Yeah, just my fucking internet cut out for no reason. Okay, there we go. Cool. Let me just get the footages. Okay. Let me continue. Because that is not showing up. It says what? Verse 9. And they had breastplates, as it were, breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle. That's those, the noise of the engine. And like the brother said, it's looked like battle armor. Well, essentially, the planes are essentially armored, because you're meant to be getting shot at in those things. But it's, it's all metal. Sound of a chariot with many horses run into battle, and they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their powers to hurt men 5 months. Yeah, so the stings in the tails, man. That's like them bullets firing off. But you can watch, you watch a dog fight, watch a gunner. It's just like that's how men get down. Like the brother said as well, the 5 months. That's the 5 years, man. Because it was, I think, 4 years and a handful of months until when the war ended, and then the treaty was like more or less. I think it would have been about more or less 5 years by the time of the treaty. So this is what, and they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. Yeah, and that's what's this guy? Kaiser. Because that's he was the one who brought the conflict to that scale, man. And it's Germany is really that that nation among Esau as well.
They're the chief.
Because that's even
No, that's it.
But yeah, because it's like the way German does things is funny as well. 'Cause even with the development of like nuclear weaponries, like the Germans were handing, like their scientists were
instrumental,
the key, man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it was competition between Russia and America, to monopolize those resources. And this is what verse 12. One woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter.
So that was the end of not the end, but that's World War One was that the first of 3 woes, and it was followed by World War Two. All right, and now we're hot on the heels of World War Two, in the midst of World War Three, and you can see that even with the Cold War leading to the pressure mounting up to it happening, I believe, in the period of the 80s, basically, but then it boiled over. But now we're back. If you go to theexpress.co.uk or .com, they've got a segment within it. I don't know if segment's the right word to use, but like they have a series or segment like just geared towards World War Three. So basically, that shows you everything.
Or a topic.
Yeah, like they always have for years, so they know that World War III is coming. You gonna read on?
Yeah. So verse 13. And the 6th angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the 4 horns of the golden altar, which is before the Most High, saying to the 6th angel, which had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels that are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the 4 angels were loose, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the 3rd part of men. And that's, the same angels where, they're holding back the winds. They're going to be loosed. Of course they're going to be loosed, because they've been holding it back, that destruction. And it's, prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, that time which no man knows. That's basically something that's been held back to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua himself, which is why, we're basically moving like, at any point, could be the return of our Lord, and that's why it's the year of hastening, the return of Yahweh Shai, man. We're hastening his coming. That's the vibe of the year, man. That's basically the energy that's been getting pushed out the whole year, because it's what about hastening the coming. Because we don't know, and these things can change like that, the drop of a hat. And then it's for us men that we watch, we keep up with things. It's not gonna obviously we don't know the hour, so it's gonna come. It's gonna come. It's gonna be like, oh, okay, it's going down, but it's not gonna be a complete surprise. Like, this is unexpected, and that's how it's gonna be for the people in the world. They're gonna be caught with their pants down, man.
Even right now, in the midst of this pandemic that we're presently in, it's like they even have people come out and say it, like, oh, like the pandemic lockdown made me realize that all the things I was doing wrong in life. And they could have got serious about the Lord, seeing all the things that are happening. But a lot of people, guess what they're doing? They're getting serious about their career. They're making decisions to be like, you know what, I'm not going to stay in a monotonous job now. I'm going to go and do what I've always wanted to do. But in reality, because I had a lot of people reach out to me the moment this thing went down, and they were saying that, yo, what's going on with this, what's going on with that, and in all reality, they ain't talking to me no more. None of them want to know. And why is that? Because they've gone back to the world is going to go on like it's always gone on.
That's 2 Peter 3 and 3 spirit.
Yeah.
Might as well get it, to be fair. 2 Peter 3 and 3. Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. Yeah, that's that same mindset. Because whilst the crisis went down, everyone's like, oh shoot. But then now it seems like everything's back, everything's hunky dory. They got their shots. They're ready for the booster shot. They're ready for the to get a Karagma just jammed up their anus as well. They're ready for anything, man. And they're like, yeah, it's everything's back to normal. Live life, enjoy it. That's why it's gonna take them, like a thief in the night. Okay, back in Revelation. So Revelation 9 and to slay a third part of men. That's Esau, because you got what, the sons of the Most High, sons of man, and the sons of the wicked. And the number of the army of the horsemen was 200,000. And I heard the number of them. Yeah, so that's 200 million nukes that are going to be flying, man. Because that's the horsemen. It's the same as mentioned in Joel.
One shall break their ranks.
Yeah.
Joel
and that's just like with the locusts. These things, it's like you don't have intercontinental ballistic missile. The term intercontinental ballistic missile didn't exist until until the 20th century, man. Like you're not gonna go back 2,000 years and then we write into the intercontinental ballistic missile, because that's not how the scriptures work. But that's the thing. That's why it takes the spirit. And that's why you got to receive it, man. It's that good food, man. Can you get it? And it says what? And a number of that one I read. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and then that sat on them having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. Yeah, there was death in them warheads, man. Them nuclear warheads, the level of destruction they're bringing as well, is far above and beyond like what the levels of destruction you would have seen, because you would have had, like for example, Sodom and Gomorrah getting laced with that fire, but that was on a small scale. When you're dealing with 200 million nukes dropping on America, it says, the earth is going to reel to and fro like a drunkard. Just as, on a small scale, when people see in Sodom and Gomorrah, it was like, yo, the world's going to end. But on a mass scale, that's why it's like, the destruction of America, people are going to be all kinds of done. People are going to be crying, man. It goes into it like Revelation 18. Fire and brimstone. By these three was a third part of man killed by the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone, which issued out of the mouth. Yeah, that nuclear, that mushroom cloud, that nuclear fire, Terminator 2 shows that sweep. Knowing is another beautiful, beautiful scene where you just see it like going through, I believe it's New York, just.
That's the besom, nice and the besom, because the word besom basically means sweep. So that's why it's gonna be nice and besom, I believe, in the Book of Psalms it says. Let me just check. You can read on.
For their power is in their mouth and their tails. For their tails were like unto serpents and had heads, and with them they do hurt. Yeah, the tails, what they called, man, the rocket system, man. Because you watch, it's like it's the same thing with when Esau sends up these satellites. He's got the super rocket filled with fuel, to, get them off the ground. Then afterwards, once they get into like the stratosphere, they just drop off a bunch of shit. And then when they re-enter, it's a much smaller rocket to land down on the target. And that's how it's going to be. And it's like now as well, it's like what the weak said, I am strong. You got heathen nations that have got their hands on these technologies. It's not just monopolized by Esau anymore. So that's why you're going to have, that's how you're going to have America brought down, man. There was 200 million nukes going to be flying around landing in America, man, because everyone's going to come together. They're going to make that decision. They're going to jam their thumb on the big fat red nuclear button, man, and the nukes are going to fly. Whether an angel needs to jam that thumb instead. They're going to do their job. Turbans which and had heads, and with them they do hurt. And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hand, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood. These guys were still being pieces of shit, worshiping. They were still in love with all the lies and bullshit Esau pushed out. Even after the place got wiped out.
And that's Esau's even going to be like that as well.
Just, no! It's like until them shackles come on, he's just like, no, but I'm good. He's going to put the fat chain. Things are over there tight.
That's the best kind of
you're gonna
devil,
get,
to be honest.
Just going to get that lash. Legendary lash, man. Just like in the Django, man. That first time when he just comes, just fucking them up, man. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be emotional. Esau's gonna need that adjustment period, man, because he really ain't gonna be. He really ain't thinking he's going down. Because it's the first fruits of it is gonna be what? It's gonna be those elites, man. Like it says in Psalms, man. The first fruit, them guys gonna be getting grabbed up, gonna be shackled up. They're gonna be getting lashed up, man. This I think it's what Isaiah King shall we that nursing fathers, yeah.
Let me quickly read this, going back to what I mentioned. It's the book of Isaiah 14 and 23. It says, I will also make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith the Lord of hosts. So that goes into what you mentioned in the movie Knowing, about the sweep. That's the Heavenly Father taking out his broom, walking in the closet, taking out that broom, and just sweeping all the mess off the face of the earth.
Just done. Because that's fire is that immense cleansing agent. So what? The impurities from metals. You beat high force. I don't know what I'm doing there. High force of pressure. You know, from beating on it and the intense heat. That's what you're gonna have. That just sweeping over America, because that's a mass amount of vile wickedness, blasphemies. It needs an intense amount of destruction brought against it. Otherwise, you know, how's it going to be cleaned? Is Isaiah 49 and 20 and 49 and 23, and kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and their queens thy nursing mothers. They shall bow down to thee with their face towards the earth, and lick up the dust of thy feet, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh, for they shall not be ashamed to wait for me. Yeah, it's going to be flipped completely. That's why you have what in Ecclesiastes 10. I've seen servants on horses, and was it princes walking as servants on the earth, or kings. It's right now it's flipped. Esau's the one on the horse. Esau's the one in the full state of power. He's the one with the rule. He's the one with everyone looking up to him. That's gonna be flipped. It's already happening through this. Like it's been happening from when Esau's from when he shot into space from '69. When he shot at Apollo 11, he's been on his decline, and the spirit's been coming on. And then what? It's coming on to Jake. That's why you've been having the kingdom of heaven getting built. Because what? Like Yahweh Shai said, the kingdom of heaven within us. And that's why it's Esau. These are the things that Esau is doing. He's the utmost to avoid. Because he's in terror of returning into that state. But hey, that's what's gonna go down.
You can't blame him. He's in his bag, so to speak. He's enjoying his life. He's living it to the maximum.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? It's all gonna come to an end, and he's aware. So he's doing everything within his power to try and keep a sure hold upon his power. That's why Isaiah 47 says what it says: "Stand now in thy enchantments, that they may help thee." That's his hope.
Yes, that's what his trust has been in. Psalms 149 and 5. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hands, to execute vengeance upon the heathen, and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains, and their nobles with fetters of iron. Yeah, this is what these elites are not looking to do. These frail, these guys ain't lifted a finger. These guys have been out in the most exalted position in the world, living it up, enjoying the fatness of the earth. Putting their plans together, sacrificing babies, doing all forms of madness, all forms of witchcraft, all forms of untoward acts, so they can try and make the future they desire come about. But if it's the only future that they're gonna get is the one that's within the word, man.
Even Germany, there's a clip I saw about Germany. They were saying the elites, multi-billionaires in Germany, they don't want to reveal who they are.
Oh, did you watch that too? I watched that.
I didn't watch the whole thing. I just saw it on Instagram, like a clip.
Oh, okay. It was a YouTube video. I watched it. I have on the spirit still because I watched that video.
I'm gonna check it or send it to me because I want to watch it. But they said that they've not one picture online.
Yeah, of a bunch of them.
I wish I had that type of shit.
Man, no, that's what, bro. It's like they said, because they mentioned with that, they said they were talking to the guys who manage their money and kind of deal with them, and then they were saying yeah, you're not gonna get any of these guys to come forward. And it was only the guy that they managed to speak to, one guy that actually had money. There was two guys. One guy, there was a guy that just started his own business. No, both of them were guys that had just come up that generation. They were the ones who developed the wealth. They didn't come from the background of having wealth. And that's what the guy was talking about. He was saying a lot of these guys, they come from wealth, and a lot of them as well, their money's tied back to what, Nazi Germany. The Third Reich. That's what he said. So it's okay, yeah, they're kind of linked up with them. So they don't want people to know who they are. They don't want to be out in public, and people like trying to approach them, or people coming to their house to kind of try and rob shit. And that's the power. They have the money, so they can just be like, fuck it. You ain't seen a damn thing. Man said like on the whole list of all the people that are like I think the 20th richest or whatever in Germany, he said none of them had pictures.
That tells you everything.
Yeah. So and that's these guys are in the dark doing their thing, man. They're linking up with other people on them same levels, and you ain't gonna see them, or you might see them,
but
you
you
ain't
don't
gonna
know who
them.
they are. Smiley.
That's the thing.
You
Think you're thinking about some Bill Gates, some fuck is this guy called, man? Jeff Bezos's, some Elon Musk's. You know these guys are nobodies, man. These guys are a low level. Musk. But that's all these guys on that elite level, they're putting these plans together. They're gonna get them feeble wrists are gonna get them fat fetters chained them slapped on, man.
Yeah, they're
gonna accidentally on purpose lash them with the chain too. Like, no, why are you being mean?
Gonna learn today.
And then you go verse 9, to execute upon them the judgment written, this honor of all these saints, praise ye the Lord Jehovah. Yeah. Executing the judgment that's written, that's the thing. It's in the word. Let me do the last verse of Rev 9. And if you got anything, you can grab it and close.
No.
So Revelation 9:21. Neither repented that. We'll read 20 again. And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, man, going to be on Elysium talking smack. The angel's going to be coming. It's like what is it? The first Pirates of the Caribbean, where what's her name comes on the ship. She's like, she starts popping off, and she's like, do not speak unless war come to. They had the Jake do it too. Yeah, that shit is hilarious. But that's just gonna be popping shit,
down,
just like the taste. Gonna be looking like a guy from World War One, man. The whole jaw's just gonna be on the wall. Says, repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver, and brass and stone, and of wood, which neither can see, nor hear, nor walk. Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornications, nor of their theft. These guys are going to be staunch in it. That's why it says stand now.
That's why them guys in Germany ain't coming forward. Because they want to keep their wealth. They don't give a shit about how you feel about it.
Yeah.
It's more just they don't want to hassle. So why come out and let them know what we are, when we could just live in a life stress-free? Especially with the way the world is presently today as well.
Yeah, you know I'm looking to... Anyone looking to, just out themselves for the fun of it.
Why would you?
The guys that are actually out there, they're that's intentional, man. But yeah, you got anything?
No, I ain't got nothing.
Alright. So yeah, we'll leave it there. Yeah, Lord willing, next week continue the series.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so yeah, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushua, Ba'Shem, HaKadosh. Go on and see the apostles and elders of their most.
Well,
Shalom.
shalom to the elect. Shalom.